Happy New Year, everybody. We're going to kick off this year with 100 side hustle questions answered. Let's get right into it. Number 1, what is a side hustle? Depending on who you ask, you're going to get different definitions, but I think generally it's defined by anything that gives you a source of income that isn't a traditional job. So it could be a side business, a gig, anything like that. Number 2, why should someone start a side hustle? There are many reasons why somebody might decide to start a side hustle. You may have some long-term goals that you're trying to reach, like buy a house, pay off debt, save for something big, buy a new car. Or you might have some short-term goals that you want to hit, like save money to go on vacation, buy a new video game system. There are infinite number of reasons why you should do a side hustle. How much time should you dedicate to a side hustle? This is going to differ from person to person. For me, I can really spend around 10 hours a week without feeling like it's having any sort of impact on my life. After 10 hours, it does kind of feel like I'm doing actual work rather than like doing fun little things to make money. And then I will start to burn out if I keep doing it. So for me, it's 10 hours. It might be different for you. It's very important that you do something that's sustainable. Number 4, can you start a side hustle with no money? Yes, actually every video on my channel that talks about side hustles are all ones that you can start with no money. I recommend staying away from ones that involve you risking your own money to start unless you're already in a decent financial place to begin with. Number 5, what are the most profitable side hustles? I can't speak for everybody, but for me personally, user testing has been the most profitable side hustle for me. The actual website, usertesting.com, has given me more than $10,000 since I started last year. All those usability websites I think are great sources of income for a lot of folks. Data annotation pays $20 an hour. That's a pretty good side hustle. And then DoorDash, Uber, all those things, you can make a decent amount of money. Number 6, how do you balance a side hustle with a full-time job? I think it's important to have goals in mind and not just aimlessly doing side hustles for the sake of doing them. Whether that's a monetary goal or a timed goal, you should have something that you're working toward. I think it's important to plan ahead. So I think you should look at what your schedule is for your full-time job. If you're working a 9 to 5, if you're a morning person, you might want to work between 6 and 8 on some side hustles, or you might want to work from 5:30 to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever. But write down what you want to do, make sure that it feels okay, and then keep yourself accountable and hold yourself to that schedule. Number 7, how long does it take to make money from a side hustle? It can range, obviously. For most of the side hustles that I talk about here, you'll get paid within 2 weeks of doing whatever the task is. Some side hustles like DoorDash and Uber and Shipt, all those gig apps, they usually have a way to withdraw the money immediately and you pay a small fee in order to get it. Otherwise, you have to wait a week for it to hit your bank account. Number 8, do you need a business license for your side hustle? Let me start off by saying I'm absolutely not a lawyer, but I do have a bachelor's degree in business, and it really depends on what type of side hustle you are doing. For most things, pretty much everything that I'm going to talk about on this channel, you absolutely do not need any sort of business license or form any type of business, LLC, whatever. If you're doing something like DoorDash or you're signing up for a usability website, you don't need to do anything special. Now, if you are going to be selling cookies, then you might want to talk to somebody in your area that knows a little bit more about that because you might need some sort of agricultural license. It's going to depend on where you live, obviously. Number 9, what is the easiest side hustle to start? The easiest side hustle to start is really any of the gig ones. Some of them have a wait list, but usually you literally just sign up with your information. They do a quick background check and then that's it. You're ready to go. Number 10, can anyone start a side hustle? Yes, of course, anybody can do a side hustle. Now, how much time you have on it is obviously going to depend on your life circumstances, but there is a way for almost everybody to be able to do something extra if you really need the money. Number 11, how do you start freelancing? If you want to get into freelancing, then there are a couple things that you need to do. Number 1, you need to make sure that you have a skill that you can freelance. Otherwise, what are you freelancing? If you already have a skill, then great. What you can do is you can market yourself on social media. You can create an account on Upwork and try to find clients. You can create an account on Fiverr and try to find clients. And once you get your first couple clients, you can try to give referral bonuses to your existing clients and have them refer other people and they'll get a discount on whatever your service you're offering. And then you can try to just spread awareness from word of mouth from there. And then you can do things off the platforms of Fiverr and Upwork, and then you can keep all the money that comes in rather than sharing it with those platforms. If you don't already have a skill, then you really shouldn't be looking at freelancing. But if you're thinking of different skills that you might want to learn so you can get into it, there are a couple things that I think would be worth checking out. If you're technically inclined, I would really look into getting a Salesforce certification or a ServiceNow certification. Companies need to have people that work on a on-call basis to help them with different things that pop up in these different platforms. And you can learn them very cheaply and pretty quickly. There is a ton of content online that you can find about getting your Salesforce certification or your ServiceNow certification or any of those other type of platforms. I would definitely look into it if you're looking to branch into something like that. If you're not super technically inclined, you could look up to do different classes for things like photography and try to get into that. But just make sure it's something you're passionate about, because you're not going to want to do it if it's not something you already care about. So I would really advise against you trying to learn a new skill if it's not something that you find yourself enjoying doing. Number 12, is dropshipping still a good side hustle? No, not really. The reason why you're seeing so much content about dropshipping or print on demand and now affiliate marketing is because there are programs that these people are actually selling, and they're not actually making all this money off drop shipping. There are a lot of con artists on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram that make it look like they're making a ton of money by doing drop shipping without doing really any work, and they're in these fancy cars and they're in these mansions and they're showing you these earnings receipts, and it's all fake. Why would they fake it? Because they're selling you a course, which is how they actually get their money. So you're paying them $300 to learn how to do what they're saying that they do, but they don't actually make money doing those things. Otherwise, they would just keep doing it and not educate other people on it and spend all this money on marketing and making all these posts about it and everything. Can you make money doing drop shipping? Of course, obviously. I mean, the model makes sense on paper, right? But it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of money spent on marketing. And it's just not as easy as you probably think it is if you've watched a couple of these videos. I would really stay away from it if you're trying to make money. Number 13, can you make money from blogging? Yeah, you could make money off blogging. I think that it's much more difficult today to do that than it would be 10 or 20 years ago when blogging was really taking off. YouTube and social media has really taken the place of a traditional blog where you write little posts and about a certain subject. Now it's all about being an influencer or being a creator. And the way that you make money is pretty much the same way as you would make money as a blogger. Obviously, it takes a little bit more work because you usually have to film yourself and make videos if you're going to be an influencer or a creator. I would say yes, you probably could still make money from blogging, but probably not much, and it probably would take a very long time for you to see a single penny. Number 14, how do you make money with YouTube? So there are two primary ways that creators make money off YouTube. One is to monetize your YouTube channel. That's just like the basic ad revenue that you will get. In order to monetize your YouTube channel, you need to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours on your videos. For me, the subscribers was really easy to get. I still do not have enough watch hours for me to monetize, so I'm not making a single penny off YouTube at the moment, but hopefully that will change in the future, hopefully this year. Another way that creators make money off YouTube is by doing affiliate marketing, and that's just having links in the description that are about different products or services that are mentioned in their video, and then if somebody watches their video and clicks that link and then buys the service or product, then the creator gets a small kickback. Number 15, is affiliate marketing worth it? Yes, of course, affiliate marketing is worth it, but a lot of bad actors have taken the term affiliate marketing and has turned it into something that it's not, and you really need to be careful about that. There are a bunch of courses that claim they're going to teach you how to do affiliate marketing, but those courses are actually just one step below a pyramid scheme, and the only way that you make money with it is by actually selling that course to other people. I cannot believe that's even legal, honestly. And a lot of people get into debt to buy these courses. It's actually, I've seen multiple creators talk about how they put this course that cost almost $1,000 on their credit card because they couldn't afford it, but they know this is what they need to get started with their business. It's like all the worst aspects of a multi-level marketing company. I really would not recommend that you do anything like that. Affiliate marketing is something that can happen after you've already built an audience. If you don't have an audience, you need to focus on that before you try selling anything. Number 16, what is the best platform for selling digital products? Obviously, it depends on what type of digital product you're looking to sell, but if you're trying to make things like PDF planners or board games that are like just PDFs that people download. A lot of people use Etsy for that, and Etsy has relatively low fees. I think they charge 99 cents for every listing that you put on the website per month. So the barrier to entry isn't super high. And there are other websites where you can still stock photos and stuff, but you're very unlikely to see a big return on investment there. And KDP, I just actually released a video about this. You can publish books for free on Amazon. Number 17, can you make money with print on demand? Yes, of course you can make money on print on demand, but it's really just like drop shipping where you need to make sure that you are marketing, because the whole point of print on demand is that you are selling things to people that want to buy whatever it is that you're designing. If you're trying to just start like a clothing line, then you need to make sure you have an audience. Without an audience, you have no one to sell it to, and no one's going to buy this no-name brand clothing line that you just created other than maybe your friends and family. You can sell more novelty type of items, perhaps easier, maybe things relating to holidays, maybe customized named packages like named mugs or congratulation mugs or things like that. I see those sell on Etsy that are clearly using print-on-demand services. It all comes down to marketing. Number 18, what skills do you need to start an online side hustle? None. You don't need any skills. You need to know how to use the computer. That's pretty much it. Once you figure out how to use the computer, go join TELUS or Data Annotation or Outlier or user testing or Userlytics or cloud research, and you can start making money as soon as you're approved. How do you start an Etsy shop? Obviously, you need to figure out what you're going to make for your Etsy shop. And then once you've figured out how you're going to do that, then it's just as easy as creating an account. And then you have to pay a little bit of money to list each item. Number 20, can you earn a full-time income with side hustles online? No, okay, by definition, a side hustle is something that you do on the side. So you cannot earn a full-time income by doing side hustles online. Now, if you create a business and that business ends up taking off, then of course it can replace your full-time job if it ends up getting really popular. But for most people, and for all the things that I talk about on my channel, these are not things to replace a full-time job. These are things that you need to do on the side. Number 21, is Uber driving a good side hustle? Yes, it is. It has become a lot less lucrative than it used to be. Uber is an incredibly greedy company, and they are taking away a lot of the fares for every ride that you do. It is an absolutely terrible mess that they have created. I think that it would only be worth it for a majority of people if you are going out late at night near bars, Friday nights and Saturday nights, and like only doing those peak hours. There are obviously many people that do Uber full time, but you have to work a crazy amount of hours for you to make a decent living, and I just can't really recommend it. But as a side hustle, yeah, but really you need to do it sparingly. Number 22, can you make money delivering food with DoorDash? Yes, of course, I do DoorDash a lot on my channel. I think that it's one of the best side hustles because it requires absolutely no skills at all to start. You just go in, pick up food, and then you bring it from point A to point B. You don't really have to do any customer service. You don't have to interact with people other than the cashier and maybe the customer on like 15% of orders. And it's kind of fun just to like see different neighborhoods, see different restaurants, and I don't know, I kind of find it enjoyable. Before expenses, I make around $25 an hour with DoorDash. After expenses, it's really like $18, but I have a very fuel efficient car, so it depends on what you're driving. Number 23, what is the best app for side hustle gigs? Well, there's a lot of them out there. For specific gigs, there's DoorDash, there's Lyft, there's Uber Eats, there's Grubhub, there's Postmates. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. Number 24, how much can you make from TaskRabbit? So if you didn't know, TaskRabbit is an app where you can hire people to do like handyman services. They can help you move things. They can mount TVs for you, all sorts of stuff like that. My first experience with TaskRabbit was when I was selling a washer and dryer, and the person that purchased my washer and dryer hired 2 people off of TaskRabbit to move it from my second floor apartment into a moving truck. And I got to talk to one of them about how the platform works, and he says that it's great to just jump on when you see a task that you know that you can do pretty easily and then get whatever the money is posted there for. So I don't have enough experience to confidently tell you how much money you can make from TaskRabbit, but you do get to see what you'll get paid ahead of time. And if you're physically inclined to do many of these handyman type tasks, then I think it's something that you should at least check out. Number 25, is renting out your car on Turo worth it? So if you don't know, Turo is a platform where you can rent out your car to other people. You can also rent cars from just individuals, not from like a normal rental car company. It's a way that you can make almost passive income if you're not using your car, where you can just have it kind of parked. You give the person their keys and then they rent the car for however long the contract is for, and then you get paid to do that. If you have a car that's like somewhat desirable that people would want to drive around, then it could be worth it. But I've heard so many anecdotal horror stories of people that have put their car on Turo and the people didn't come back that rented it until way after the agreement, and then it screwed over all their other people that were trying to rent their car and they couldn't use their car for whatever the reason. Or people that got into a car accident and then Turo fought them on like the insurance claim. And it just seems like it's probably too messy than what it's worth. So I can't confidently say that renting your car out with Turo is a good idea. I would probably avoid that just because there is some risk involved. Number 26, what is the highest paying gig work? Obviously, this depends on the person, but for me, the best gig job has been user testing. I have made over $10,000 since I started last year, and it is so easy. The hourly rate is incredible. You get $10 per test. A test normally takes between 5 and 10 minutes. The thing is, with user testing, it depends on a lot of factors, whether or not you get tests. A lot of my tests are related to the industry that I work my full-time job in, so I kind of have an unfair advantage compared to other people. I look on the user testing subreddit a lot, and I see that most people aren't making as much money as I do, so your mileage definitely will vary. But there's also plenty of tests to do that are just about normal everyday things, like buying plane tickets or shopping online, things like that are not related to anything industry related at all. But that's my highest paying gig job that I've had. Number 27, are gig economy jobs sustainable? That's a great question. Who knows? We're going to find out really soon. There's a lot of people that are on these gig jobs that have not been on them before. I think that's kind of just a testament of what the economy is doing right now. People are struggling out there and they're trying to make as much extra money as they can. And as a result, we're seeing a lot of wait lists for a lot of the gig apps that normally you could just join right away. Like you can't even join DoorDash right now. You have to be on a wait list. I've been on the Grubhub's wait list for almost a year. So we'll see how it goes. As for individuals, I would say that it's not really sustainable because you don't know what your income is going to be week by week. So just do not rely on gig jobs as a source of income. Just treat it all as extra bonus income that you're going to get. Number 28, how do you get started with Instacart? Most cities have a wait list for Instacart right now, but it's just as easy as signing up for an account, and then you do a little background check, and then they give you a card that you use for the grocery stores, and then you get to work. It's really easy. Number 29, is pet sitting through Rover profitable? It is. I know several people that have done pet sitting through Rover and have seen success. It's a great way to just like find clients if you want to start your own little pet sitting business. The thing with Rover and all these other companies is that they do take a lot of the money that the person is paying, and they give you benefits too, and they protect you through certain things. But I think that it's a way that you could get at least your initial first clients, and then you could try to get referrals from them and then go off the platform so that you can keep all the money that comes in. But yes, definitely profitable. Number 30, can you combine multiple gig apps? Yes, and if you want to make money, you absolutely should. I mean, these gig apps do not care about you. You should use as many as you possibly can. One thing I will say is you should be careful of doing them at the same time. Like people will do DoorDash and Uber Eats at the same exact time. And if you do that, you really need to pause one of them once you get an order. Otherwise, you're going to piss off your customer and the food's going to be cold and you're going to be looking like you're driving in the other way and you'll get deactivated from one of the platforms and then you just lost that stream of income. So be careful, but definitely use as many as you want. Number 31, how do you make money with photography? Like all other jobs, it really comes back to marketing. You can make money with photography, but you need to make sure that you are marketing yourself in some way. Keep a page on social media that showcases your photography skills and whatever your niche is, and then try to get clients through those pages. Number 32, can you turn your art into a side hustle? You can. In online communities, there are things like commissions where you can draw custom art for people that are a fan of whatever you do. You can try to get into local vendor markets to have a little stand to sell for different people. A lot of small towns love having local artists come together and sell whatever they have. A lot of local coffee shops will also partner with local artists to hang up their art on the wall, and then people can buy them if they like them. So that's a way that you can kind of showcase your art, get people to look at you and follow you and then also potentially make a sale. It's all about marketing and just reaching out and getting your name out there. You can't just draw and then post it online and expect sales to come in. Number 33, how do you start a podcast as a side hustle? I don't have any experience with this, but if you wanted to do this, then you really need to make sure you're doing a couple things. You need to stay consistent. You need to be making episodes and publishing them at least once a week, maybe even more. That's how your audience will initially grow. You need to make sure that you're doing a podcast that is talking about something that's interesting to a niche audience. So you don't want to just be talking about world affairs because there are so many other people doing that. You want to be talking about guinea pig owners and the best things to do with your guinea pigs. You want to be talking about raising a child with autism. You want to have a show where you're talking about different air fryer recipes. It needs to be something very niche and specific, and your audience will be there. No matter what you're interested in, there's always going to be somebody that wants to listen to it. If you do something that's too vague, there's just too much competition out there for you to be successful. And then once you have a big enough audience, you can reach out to different companies that can sponsor you, and you can do ads for them, or they might reach out to you if they find your podcast first. Number 34, is selling handmade items profitable? Yes, I know multiple people that have sold handmade items on Etsy, little necklaces and bracelets that talk about things like happy 8th grade graduation or welcome home. So if you are very creative in that way, that might be something that you could do. Number 35, how do you write and sell an ebook? Well, there are different avenues to write or sell an ebook, but the most popular one and the easiest one, honestly, is to create an account on KDP, that's Kindle Direct Publishing, and that's how you can get a book published on Amazon's website and people can download it and then you get commission. I've actually done this for 5 different little ebooks that I've made through the course of the last 8 years or so. And I will very occasionally, every other month, I'll get $1 or $2 because people are still buying them randomly. So it's incredibly simple if you wanted to do it. Number 36, can you make money from graphic design? Yes, of course you can, but just like freelance writing, it is really, really hard right now. There is a ton of competition and AI is making it really difficult for creators that are into graphic design or writing to branch into the market if you aren't already established. And there used to be a lot of platforms where you can actually submit different content of like articles or blog posts, or you could just like showcase your portfolio of all your graphic design work and then people could bid on you to like say like, hey, I need a logo for this or whatever, and then you can just do it. But a lot of them have gone away because, well, you can take guesses. I think AI is a big part of it. So yes, you can, but you really need to know. And if you aren't already established, I would probably consider really niching down or finding a different side hustle. Number 37, what's the best way to monetize your music? Music is tricky. You can submit them to the streaming platforms. It does cost money in order to do that. Again, like anything else, it's really about marketing and getting it out there and building an audience. Without an audience, you really don't have anything. And that audience can come organically, but it's very unlikely. Even the artists that you think came up organically had a lot of things behind the scenes to make that organic growth happen. So you need to do your research on how to popularize your music if you want to make it in that industry. Number 38, how do you start offering voiceover services? So there are platforms like Fiverr that have voiceover services that you can hire, and you can also obviously sell those services. This is unfortunately another industry that's being hurt by AI, so I don't know how much demand is out there right now, but I mean, you could definitely make a portfolio and submit it on Fiverr to see if you get any bites, but I probably would stay away from it right now. Number 39, is video editing a viable side hustle? Yes, absolutely. And there's actually a very big demand for video editing. So as long as you have the software that you need in order to do video editing, you can help different companies or individuals with long form video editing or even like TikToks or shorts and things like that and try to help them go viral or just build an audience. There's a lot of demand for this right now, and I suspect that it will continue to grow. Number 40, how do you promote your creative work? So you can promote for free or you can do paid ads. If you want to promote for free, which is what I would suggest that you do, you need to just consistently post. The algorithm will get you some organic leads, but also post on Facebook pages, on Reddit, on forums. Find where your audience is and try to promote your content there. Number 41, how do you start flipping items? If you want to start flipping items, you need to make sure that you do your research. If you're trying to flip things on something like eBay, they take a lot of money out on fees. So it's not as easy as buying something from Walmart for $10 and selling it on eBay for $20. The fees and shipping will eat that money and you will end up losing money in that transaction, even though that's 100% markup. I personally think the best way to flip items would be to sell things on Facebook Marketplace that you either got from a store or that you got from the free section of Facebook Marketplace. Especially bulky items like couches and chairs and other furniture items. If you have a truck or you rent a truck in order to transport it, then you could sell those couches or chairs and offer free delivery as part of the sale. You can get a lot more money for that. And renting a truck is relatively very cheap. You can go to Home Depot and rent it for as cheap as $20. Number 42, can you make money selling thrift store finds? Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of a fantasy for a lot of people to go to Goodwill or, go to Salvation Army and find really cool thrifted items and then maybe stitch it up, maybe not, and then sell it on eBay. That was a big thing back in the early and mid 2000s. Today, it's a little bit harder because of all the additional fees that eBay has. And also thrift stores are so damn expensive now. I don't know how often you go into them, but it has changed a lot. It costs a lot more money to buy different things. So potentially, yes, it could be profitable, but I don't know how viable it would be. Number 43, how do you start a reselling business? If you really, really wanted to get into reselling, then you probably should get something like a label printer. That's going to save you a lot of time and money in the long run. You want to make sure that you are getting boxes ahead of time so you have all your shipping materials ready, also the bubble wrap, everything that you need to ship items. And then also there are different apps out there and you can research which one will do the job the best, but they will tell you actually how much money it will cost to ship the item from eBay and how many fees you will pay. And you can actually scan barcodes of items and it'll tell you what like the cost it would be in order for you to sell it on eBay and like what the price is trending on. And also for Amazon too, if you get approved to sell on Amazon's website. So I would probably just make sure you do your research, get all the items that you need for it. I might do a separate video on this to go a little bit more in depth, but make sure you have everything that you need before you get started and just test it out and see what you think. Is retail arbitrage worth it? So retail arbitrage is a method of reselling where you would go into like a Target, go to the clearance aisle, find the clearance items, and then resell it on eBay for a markup. And sometimes you can get incredible deals, but like I said, you have to just be wary of the fees that eBay has and also the shipping costs. And just make sure that it's going to make sense for you in the long run, because if you're only going to make a couple bucks off the transaction, then you may as well just go do DoorDash because you're not going to make enough money for that to be worth your time. Number 45, can you make money selling on eBay? I have sold a lot of things on eBay, and I think if you're not focused on reselling things and you just want to get rid of things around the house, especially technology, it's a great thing to do. I think that it's really easy to sell on eBay. There's a lot of consumer protection things that eBay has so that you really can't get screwed over. And if you do, it's usually reversible. You usually can get more money for things on eBay than you could on like Facebook Marketplace. So I definitely would use eBay to sell stuff that you don't need anymore. Number 46, how do you price your products? If you're reselling things, there is a very wide range of tools that can show you price trends for that item. And then you can price your product accordingly so it will sell fast. Number 47, should you sell your products locally or online? Selling products locally is nice because you don't have to pay for shipping. If you just drop it off at somebody's house, you'll just pay like the $2 in gas that it would take. But you might not get as much money if you try to sell it locally. So it depends on your product. Number 48, what's the best platform for selling vintage items? So there's a lot of them out there. I think that Depop is probably the best one, but Poshmark is also obviously one that's been around for a long time. Mercari also is one that a lot of people use. Number 49, how do you find profitable products to sell? It's kind of best to look for items that you already know about. Like if you're really into video games, then you can try to find video games that you know are worth a lot of money, or vintage baseball cards that you know are rare and worth a lot of money. But if you don't already know about the world that you want to sell products in, then you can easily do research on what the prices look like for them. A lot of it really is just luck. Number 50, can you sell items on Facebook Marketplace as a side hustle? Of course, Facebook Marketplace is a great evolution of Craigslist, in my opinion. One thing you can do completely for free is to find things that are on the side of the road that people are getting rid of. People will get rid of really nice things sometimes. That painting that you see behind me, that was on the side of the road. And if I didn't want that picture, then maybe I could have sold it for $5 or $10. And then that's 100% profit right there. You can sell anything on Facebook Marketplace. You just need to make sure that you are getting the right items listed. Number 51, what is passive income? There are a lot of people that talk about passive income and they don't really know what they're talking about. Passive income is a stream of income that comes in without you having to do anything. It's all completely automated. What truly is passive income would be like, the interest from your savings account. But there are other things that you can do that hypothetically would be passive income. Like if you sold a lot of ebooks that you created all at once and then put on there and then they just continuously sold, I technically have a passive income stream by doing that. So there are different ways you can get a passive income, but it's usually not as lucrative as people make it out to be. Number 52, how do you create passive income streams? I mean, the biggest way is to just bulk create whatever it is you're selling and then put them all up and then just wait. So if you're a creator, as an example, you could create a bunch of videos ahead of time and then schedule them to be published, or a bunch of posts on Instagram to be published. Just wait until that audience grows while you're not actually doing anything. And then you'll make money with whatever affiliate links that you have on those platforms. It's all about spending a lot of time up front and then reaping the benefits afterwards. Number 53, can you create passive income with real estate? There is no real estate product that you can invest in that will give you passive income. You can buy rental properties or Airbnb properties, but it's not going to give you passive income. You're still very much involved. Even if you have to hire a property manager, you're still involved in that process. And with the way that current interest rates are, it's not nearly as attractive as an option as it was a couple years ago. Number 54, is investing a good side hustle? I don't know if I'd call it a side hustle, but you definitely should invest in some way or the other, whether it's through your company's 401k or opening up an IRA or a Roth IRA, or just investing in your own brokerage account. You need to make sure you have some money aside and growing. Number 55, how do you earn royalties from creative works? There are different ways. You get royalties when you're selling ebooks on KDP. There are some websites where you can sell stock photos, and when people use them, you get a little bit of kickback. Number 56, what are some low-cost passive income ideas? Anything that doesn't cost money. So creating ebooks, creating videos, things like that. Number 57, can you make money with vending machines? This is a big thing I'm seeing a lot on TikTok and YouTube, and unfortunately I'm seeing a lot of courses that are involved with them, so just be very wary about what people say they are making on those, because there are ulterior motives involved. Yes, you can probably make money on vending machines, but you also need to make sure that you're going to those vending machines, making sure that it doesn't need maintenance, you need to empty the tray. It's not nearly as passive as you would expect it to be. Number 58, how do you earn with dividend stocks? So dividends are a tiny bit of money that you get from owning a particular stock, and you get that money without actually selling the stock. So it's kind of a passive income. It's usually not a ton of money, and there's always risk involved, because if that stock goes higher or lower, then your value of the stock increases or decreases. It's not really a side hustle. Number 59, is creating an online course passive income? Yes, it is. And if you do create an online course, please just don't be a piece of shit. Number 60, what is the easiest passive income stream to start? I'd say probably ebooks, just because it's the lowest barrier to entry. Number 61, how do you start tutoring? There are a ton of online platforms for this. Studypool is one. Wiznant is another one. A lot of people really like Wiznant. You join them just like the other platforms and you can get started right away. Number 62, is virtual assisting profitable? Yeah, people hire virtual assistants for a lot of reasons. I think maybe putting an ad on Fiverr would be a great way to get a start on this if you want to get into virtual assisting. Also, Upwork could be a good place for it too. There's just a lot of competition, and there's a lot of very cheap competition too, because people from all over the world that might have incomes in their country a lot less than what yours is are also trying to do this for people. So it might be difficult in order to get your first client. Number 63, how do you get into social media management? Social media management is hot right now, and there is a lot of competition, but I would suggest that you start locally. I would go to local business and offer to make them different Instagram posts and reels and just handle all their social media platforms. There are a ton of videos on how to get started with this, but I definitely would recommend that you try it out if you are inclined in the social media space and you know how to make these posts and you know how to make reels or TikToks or short videos. Number 64, can you make money with web development? Yes, you can. There's a lot of web development tools that are cheap and easy to learn and use. WordPress.org is probably your best bet on creating the most versatile websites for clients. And again, for something like this, I would definitely operate locally, because you can actually visit these people in person, and that just creates more of a trust. I can tell you, as a business owner, people will email you all of the time asking to remake your website and they are in places halfway across the world. There is endless competition on it, and I think the best way to stand out is to go to local places and to actually show your face to them. They get, and I'm not joking, hundreds of emails of people asking them to make a website or redo their website for them. So just be prepared that there's a lot of competition, even in a small town that you might live in. Number 65, what's the best platform to teach skills online? I think it's YouTube. If you can make genuinely helpful videos and get people to watch them and build an audience, you can make a lot more money than you could if you just taught those skills on like a one-on-one training course. Now, you do need more skills on top of what you might already know in order to succeed in this area, like video production and editing and things like that. But I think you should go the social media YouTube route if you're trying to teach people something. And you also have to be entertaining too, obviously. That's something I'm still figuring out. Number 66, how do you start offering consulting services? Freelance platforms like Fiverr and Upwork are a great way that people start doing it. And then from there, once you get enough first clients, you can start getting referrals, and then you can do everything off of those platforms because they do eat up a lot of your costs. Whatever you do, don't give them any services for free in order to get a referral. That is the only thing that I would suggest that you really don't do. Otherwise, the world's your oyster. Number 67, can you make money with data entry? Not really. And any job that you see that says it's for data entry is probably a scam, even if it looks really legit when you're applying. Do not fall for this. A data entry clerk in 2024 is a very unlikely job position. We have just so much technology that has gotten rid of the need for something to manually do data entry for stuff. Number 68, is coding a good skill for a side hustle? Yes, it is. And actually, if you know how to code, you can join dataannotation.tech as a coder and you make $40 an hour doing it. It's all make your own hours. You like log in, you start doing it, and then you can sign off whenever. It can be very lucrative. I know someone that does this right now. Number 69, how do you market your skills online? It's very cheap to make a website. I would recommend that you make a website. You can use a platform that makes it super easy, like Weebly or Wix, and then just have a portfolio of everything that you're able to do on whatever your industry is. And then you can give that to people when they're looking for whatever it is that you do. And then also have a LinkedIn account and post regularly on LinkedIn. Number 70, what is the most in-demand skill for side hustles? I think that right now, doing something with ServiceNow would be the most in-demand and future-proof thing that you could do. There are just a lot of people that are using ServiceNow right now, a lot of tech companies that are switching to ServiceNow. It is overtaking Salesforce in a pretty big way, and I would bet that that's going to be the next big thing for people to become consultants for. Also, social media marketing, it has been really big for the last couple years. I think it's going to continue to be really big. Can't go wrong there. Number 71, how do you find clients for your side hustle? Word of mouth is always the best way to get new clients. It's also the best way to do really anything in the world, but finding your first clients can be very challenging. You might have to cold call, you might have to cold email and cold call. If you just cold email, you probably won't get a response. And just make sure that you're presenting your work on social media, on LinkedIn, on your website, so that many people can have eyes on whatever it is that you do. Number 72, should you use social media to promote your side hustle? Yes, I mean, absolutely, obviously, that is the number one thing that you should do to promote your side hustle. It's free and it's going to give you good traction. Number 73, what's the best way to build a personal brand? Be consistent. That's probably the number one thing. You don't need to post every single day, but you need to be very consistent on the platform, whatever the platform is. Number 74, do you need a website for your side hustle? Depends what your side hustle is. I think that most people should have one to just document what you're able to do. Number 75, how do you create an effective portfolio? Showcase everything that you've done, get quotes from previous clients, have a nice website that shows you everything that you've done. Number 76, can you use LinkedIn for side hustle marketing? Yeah, I mean, especially if you're doing something that is business to business related, you absolutely should use LinkedIn to post what you do and have client stories there and have it act like a billboard for your services. Number 77, what's the best way to network in your industry? LinkedIn is a great way to network while doing it virtually. Otherwise, you can just do a cold knock on doors and go to businesses and talk to people, or you can look up industry events in your area or in a city that's nearby if you live in a smaller town. Number 78, how do you get your first customer? This is always the hardest thing, is to get your first customer. You can try to do something with one of your friends or families and give them a discounted rate, or you can try to get an actual first customer or organically, but it can be really hard. Just don't give up. Just keep trying to find the person that you're going to sell to. Number 79, is paid advertising worth it? Yeah, I mean, if you can afford it, social media advertising, if you know how to configure it correctly, is incredibly powerful. Number 80, how do you ask for referrals? I think it's always nice to give some sort of incentive for a referral. Like, if you refer me to somebody, I can give you a discounted rate on the next time that you use my product or service. What are the most common challenges of side hustles? I think getting started is always the hardest part. It can be really intimidating, even on these really easy gig platforms if you don't know what you're doing. I think just, looking into how it works and seeing other people do it can make it a lot less intimidating. But my biggest piece of advice would be just start. Start yesterday. Number 82, how do you avoid burnout from a side hustle? This has definitely happened to me. It'll probably happen to you too at some point. You need to make sure that you are working at a sustainable rate. Do not try going 30 hours a week when you're just starting out. Try to ease into things and see what you can handle. Number 83, are side hustles always profitable? The ones that I advertise are, but a lot of the other side hustles that are the equivalent of actually starting your own business are absolutely not always profitable. In fact, most of them are going to lose money in the long run or in the short run. That's why I do not recommend for most people to start a side hustle where they have to invest their own money in order to do whatever it is. Number 84, how do you manage side hustle income taxes? I am not a certified tax advisor, so I really can't comment too much on this. But the only piece of advice that I will give is make sure that you are tracking your miles if you're doing anything that involves driving. That's going to come in handy during tax time and save you a ton of money. Number 85, what if your side hustle fails? Okay, go to the next one. It doesn't matter. Number 86, can you lose money starting a side hustle? Not on the ones that I do, but yeah, you can lose money starting a side hustle. If you don't have money to lose, do not start a side hustle that requires you to do any sort of investment. Number 87, how do you protect your side hustle idea? If you truly have a unique proposition that other people have not done, then there are things that you can do to legally protect whatever your idea is, and I'm not the person that could give you advice on that. But it's very likely that other people have done something that you are thinking about. So just do your research before you get too cocky. Number 88, are there scams to watch out for? Oh my God, yes, there is. And there are a lot of scams that you probably had never heard of if you haven't been into this world before. Yeah, there are a lot of scams you need to look out for. Basically, the most common one that I have seen is that when you're driving for DoorDash or Uber, you will have a phone call from someone claiming to be their customer service representatives, and they will get you to try to reset your password, but really they're trying to hijack your account to withdraw your earnings into somebody else's bank account. Do not fall for that. There are a lot of scammers for artists on Instagram that will say that they'll send you a check if you create some sort of art for them or sing them a song for their daughter's birthday or something like that. And that check will eventually bounce, and then they will have you send some of the money from the checks to some other place. There's a lot of scams like that involve a fake check. Look up fake check scams. They're incredibly common. Number 89, how do you handle competition? You just try to keep your head focused and work as hard as you can on whatever it is your own product does. If you're doing gig work, don't worry about the other people that are out there. Just focus on you. Number 90, what is the biggest risk of starting a side hustle? Well, the obvious risk is that you're not going to make any money and you're going to have wasted your time doing whatever it is. And it's something that over time you'll figure out how to best utilize your time, and it might not be super efficient when you're first starting out. My biggest piece of advice would just be to just get started. Just start. Number 91, how do you stay motivated in your side hustle? This will vary person to person, obviously, but just remind yourself of why you're doing whatever it is you're doing. I think having clear, definable goals too could be really helpful. Like, I want to make $1,000 this week, and then have like a little chart that you color in the closer you get to the $1,000. Number 92, what is the best way to measure side hustle success? If you feel satisfied, I feel like that's the biggest measure of success. Otherwise, you can have numbers down to see if you hit whatever those numbers are. Number 93, how do you scale a side hustle? Well, the biggest way that you would scale without having to spend too much money, depending on what you need to scale, is to hire freelancers, and you could do that on Upwork or Fiverr, like I've been telling you to do for your own different things to freelance for, and then they can help you with whatever it is you need. Number 94, can a side hustle turn into a full-time job? Yeah, and you could read a ton of stories of that happening to people, but I would say that for the most part, and you definitely cannot use these gig apps as a full-time job. Some people do that, even if it's temporary, but please try not to do that, because there's just so many things that you're going to be missing out on by not having a more traditional full-time job. Like, benefits or PTO, or you can't get promoted on DoorDash. I would say do not treat any side hustle like this is something that you're going to be doing full time. Number 95, what are some inspiring side hustle success stories? Just look up side hustle success stories. You'll find all these stupid news clips of people saying that they're making $1.3 billion a year selling cookies out of their attic. That is personally not motivating to me. What's motivating to me is seeing my real-time results and watching it grow. Number 96, how do you stay consistent? Staying consistent is the most important factor and the hardest part of doing anything in business. Just make sure that you are trying your best to show up every single day. It can be really hard and there'll be days that you really don't want to do whatever it is. But after a certain amount of time, it just kind of becomes a habit and it becomes a lot easier to do. Number 97, what is the biggest lessons from failed side hustles? Most businesses fail. So if you are starting a business and it fails, do not stress about it. Almost every new business fails. It's okay. And nobody cares. It's not going to matter in the long run. Number 98, how do you set realistic goals for your side hustle? Once you've already done it for a little bit, you know on average how much you make a week. And then you can kind of just find what that number is and then increase it little by little each week until you find whatever your ceiling is and then try to make that your goal. That's what I have done. Number 99, what is your best advice for side hustlers? Stay consistent. Don't give up. Just keep doing it. Start yesterday. Number 100, why is it important to start a side hustle today? Because things are freaking expensive. And especially in this employer's market right now, there are so many people that are underemployed that need extra money. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more side hustlers in the immediate future. Subscribe to make money.